Okay, this is an introduction to smart contracts in Solidity, and Solidity is the programming language that you have when you're developing smart contracts for the Ethereum blockchain. Okay, just think of it almost like JavaScript or Java for those of you who understand programming. If you don't, that's fine because we're starting at the beginning. So, smart contracts and Solidity are what is used as a programming language for EVM compatible blockchain. So look at it like that. And so at docs.soliditylang.org, you will get the documentation on what Solidity is, and it talks about what it does. Now, Solidity allows you to build decentralized applications, also called dApps, through smart contracts. Once deployed on the blockchain, these are what's called immutable, meaning that they can't be changed. So Solidity was designed with security in mind, but as with all programming, of course, you're going to have bugs that happen. That's why testing and auditing are so important in the blockchain world. So I'm sure you've all heard of gas costs. Well, every line of code you write in Solidity has a cost when executed on the blockchain. This is measured in gas, and you want to keep your code as efficient as possible to save on transaction fees. Now, I'll tell you about a blockchain that I'm working on now called MainNetZ, where the gas fees are really, really low, and you can build your smart contracts on that layer one blockchain for under a penny. But when you're at the docs.solidity.line, this website here, you will be able to go here and read through an example. Okay, so you can look at variables in this particular example, and it gives you a part of Solidity code. It says the first line tells you that the source code is licensed under the GPL version 3, machine readable license, which specifies are important in the setting, and they were published to code by default. So that's published in the code by default. And then in here you have contract, which we'll get into, uint, function. You see some functions there. But the thing about like this documentation is you can go through each one of these tabs. It shows you a simple contract. Then you click over here to the left and you can read about the basics of blockchains. It talks about transactions. It talks about hashing, elliptic curve cryptography, and peer-to-peer networks. And you just click on each one of these, and it gives you sort of a basic overview of blockchains and transactions. Now, let's look at some of the syntax of Solidity. Okay, so I'll sort of keep it simple. All right, we'll break it down for you. So there's something called an SPDX license identifier. This is just to make sure your contract has the proper licensing in place. Then there's a pragma directive. This tells the compiler which version of Solidity to use. Okay, so when I go back to this simple contract, there's that SPX right there, and then there's the pragma that tells you the Solidity. Okay, so then there's the contract definition. In this case, simple storage. That's the name of the contract. All right. It's like creating a class in other programming languages. Okay, so think of it like that. Then we want to look at variables and functions. So we declare a variable, okay, in this case, stores data and it has a specific type, uint, which is an unsigned integer. Then we have two functions in here. All right. There's set and there's get. Okay. So remember, Solidity is essential in developing on the Ethereum blockchain or EVM compatible blockchains. Okay. It's powerful, secure. It's capable of revolutionizing industries through smart contracts and decentralized applications. So what you want to do is start here if you're new. It talks about the Ethereum virtual machine here, just gives a little bit of background about what it is. Okay. Talks about there's a couple of different types of accounts. There's external accounts that are controlled by public and private key pairs, right? And contract accounts, which are controlled by the code stored together with that account. Okay, so the address of the external account is determined from the public key, while the address of the contract is determined at the time of the contract is created. And we'll get into what that means. Okay, so you can go down here, and this just gives you an overview. Talks about a transaction, what that means. Talks about gas, like I told you about. Talks about storage and memory. So the Ethereum virtual machine has 3 areas where it can store data: storage, memory, and the stack. Each account has a data area called storage, which is persistent between function calls and transactions. So storage is a key value stored that maps 256-bit words to 256-bit words. Okay, so we won't get into the details. I'll break that down in the next video. But this is just the beginning, sort of what I'm giving you is an overview of what Solidity is and how it works on the Ethereum blockchain. All right. So that's the first video of the series, and I'll come back with a follow-up.